All right, welcome back to GDCMMA. Garrett, Fraser, big fight on Saturday, flyweight title. Pretty good card as well. I think we're just going to go quickly through the main card and just chat about one undercard fight. The lone Canadian on the card, TJ Grant. Should be a great fight between TJ Grant and Matt Wyman. How do you think it breaks down?
I really like both these guys, especially Matt Wyman outside of the octagon. He does a lot of crazy stuff, and he's an interesting character. I mean, who doesn't care about sponsors when you're a fighter, you know? But TJ Grant, I think, was involved in one of the best fights of the year. Top 3, I'd say for sure, against Evan Dunham. I was there. Totally. It was one of the bloodiest fights I've ever seen live, but one of the best as well. They both have a lot to gain here and obviously a lot to lose, just like every other fight. I think it's going to go the distance, and I'm going to give it to TJ Grant. Decision.
Right on. I'm going to go with Grant as well. I think he edges out Wyman here. Love the way Wyman was able to tap out the submission master in Paul Sass. That was pretty impressive. But can't go against our boy. I'm going to take TJ Grant as well. Okay, so first fight on the main card, Koch and Lamas. Koch, you know, maybe he's a little bit disappointed to be where he is right now because he was actually supposed to be fighting Aldo for the title not too long ago. But this should be a pretty good fight. What do you think happens here?
I think this fight's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I think Koch has this all the way. First or second TKO, and then he's going to get his rightful shot.
Right on. Hate to be agreeing again with you, but I'm also going to take Koch in this one as well. Next fight up, though, is probably one of the better matchups, one of the more exciting fights on paper on the card. Cowboy Cerrone and Showtime Pettis. This should be a great fight. Interesting things going on, though. It'll be interesting to see how Pettis comes out. He's been out of the game a little while. If he has any ring rust, how do you think it breaks down?
Well, this is fight of the night for sure, like no question about it. The awesome thing about this fight is there's a little bit of stuff going on outside of the ring, right? Cowboy's been talking a little smack for a little while. Pettis has been eating it up and then saying his own stuff. So I think that's going to relate to some fireworks in the octagon. Although Pettis has, you know, Showtime moves and he is pretty creative, I think overall Cerrone is a better fighter. The overall package. If he doesn't do what he did against Diaz, I figure he wins this fight. So I also think this one's going to be a war, and I'm going to give it to Cerrone decision.
Nice. I actually kind of think this might go down like the Diaz fight. I think Cerrone has the more well-rounded game, and if he uses that to his advantage, I think he would take it. But I think they're going to stand and bang, and I think Pettis edges him slightly on the stand-up just in terms of the way he moves around the cage. Overall speed, I think he can outpoint him. So I'm going to go opposite of you on this one and take Showtime. Next fight, this one's pretty cool. Rampage, always love Rampage. And Glover Teixeira, one of the most hyped guys in the sport right now, stepping up in competition. What do you think happens here?
This fight's awesome. I mean, I'm most excited for this fight on the card. The only question here in my mind is what Rampage shows up, right? We know that this is it. This is his final fight for the UFC. At least that's what he says. But I believe him, you know, based on his interviews and what he's been saying. I think this is his last fight in the UFC. But the question is, how motivated is he for this fight, you know? Like, how motivated are you going to be for a fight that you know is your last in the organization? Is it, you know... Do you need to go out on a win to show that you're worth something to other organizations, to show that you are the real Rampage? You know, I'm just not quite sure before he's fooled us, but he does sound like he is really motivated for this fight. And if he is, I think he's going to do really well. He's been matched up with wrestlers, you know, for a lot of his fights the last 2 years, and I just think they were terrible matchups. You know, he's an exciting fighter, and he needs to be matched up against people that are exciting. Glover is exciting. He is that fight. This is the fight we've been waiting for. It's unfortunate it's his last. You know, all that being said, Glover can take him down, I think, and, you know, do some damage on the floor. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. If I have to pick someone here, even though it's going against my better judgment, I have to go Rampage because it's, you know, bias. He's my boy. We're tight. So I'm going Rampage, second round TKO.
All right, you know what? I'm taking Teixeira. I think, you know, he obviously hasn't fought the level of competition that Rampage has. There's no questioning that. But he seems to be living up to the hype so far. He's shown some pretty devastating stuff in the cage so far, and I think this is when he actually takes it to the next level and says, all right, I'm here, I'm ready to get in there with the big boys. So I'm taking Teixeira. Good to have two in a row going opposites here. We'll see how this goes down. Title fight, exciting fight. It's almost kind of like the same guy fighting each other from across the cage. Hard to pick though, you know? It's kind of a tough one to call who's going to win this one, if you ask me. What do you think happens?
So we're talking Johnson-Dodson here. What I'm most concerned about this fight is they get the recognition that they deserve. You know, they're at the top of the card. It's another one like the flyweight fight in Toronto. You know, a lot of people had things to say after that, but I was there. I got the energy in the room. I felt the vibe, and I understood why people were booing. You know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a technical fight, and it was entertaining for me. But, you know, 50% of the crowd isn't, you know, high-tech MMA fans, you know, and they need that exciting. They need that drama. They need those shots to the face or the kicks, whatever exciting. So, no matter what, I just hope that this fight delivers and they get the respect that they do deserve because they deserve it. They go 5 rounds going nuts.
And
you
the
know?
thing I love too is with the little guys, you know, they don't have the knockout power, but they're active everywhere they go. It doesn't matter where the fight is. There's intensity, there's speed, they're changing positions. There's a lot going on. All the boring stuff where guys are just getting held down or just held up against the cage, you don't see that with the little guys.
I agree. And although I do disagree with you about the knockout power, because I think a lot of them do. Yeah, I think Dodson has that knockout power.
That's very
and
true.
so that's why I'm going to say the belt is going to change hands right away. I'm going to say that Dodson wins this fight. It could go decision or it could go knockout, but I'm going to, if I have to peg it, I'm going to say TKO somewhere around the 3rd round.
Okay, I think the title stays with Johnson just because of the caliber of fighters he's fought in comparison to Dodson. I don't know if he's quite there yet, but I do see what you're saying with that knockout power that he has. That could change the fight for sure. But that's it for this one. A lot to talk about coming up, so make sure you tune in the lead up to next week's card, which of course is a great one. But for now, GDCMMA, Garrett, Fraser, we're out.
That was awesome.
Nice, yeah.